We call it in your radical, Kevin and Kevin. So football, it's the biology bowl. So I don't think a lot of people know this, that I'm the marine biologist and I used to tightly work with UC Davis, the famous marine biologist. Had the most famous marine biology department probably in the country. She was tragically killed in a car wreck. But anyway, those upper and lower California purple orchids, me doing all the work on the coast, egghead put out, those are mine. So I call this the biology bowl. Weber State, UC Davis. So we'll talk about this game, then we want to talk about the history of KWCR and what happened. But let's briefly talk. They're going to make a change of quarterback. I know that because I go to practice every day. Weiser's not going to. He won't be the starter. I doubt he'll even play.
No, in fact, he didn't do any of the regular.
So this team built around Bankston, as I said early. Bankston, as Bankston goes, he's out. This offense was built around Bankston.
Yep.
They don't have it. The wide receivers aren't ready, whatever. So I don't know for sure which one of the three they're going to start. Maybe they'll play. Well, you think they're going to play all three?
I think they'll play all three, although it looks like Munoz will probably be the first one to go in. He'll be the official starter.
You think so?
But I think they're going to use all three of them.
Yeah, okay. We'll go with that. And I think that's probably right. I think Munoz will get the start, which actually surprises me a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I've always been in the Tiger and
Cooper.
I'm a fan of Cooper's.
I'm a fan of both of them.
So, but anyway, Munoz, well, okay, he was recruited by Mickey, right?
Yep.
Okay, so UC Davis is better than people think. I'm here to tell you. By the way, how beautiful is the mighty Wasatch? And you're lucky you UC Davis Californians weren't here a day ago. You'd have froze your ass off. So, what do you think on this game? You think Weber's throwing in the towel on this season?
I don't think they're throwing in the towel on this season, but I think they're concentrating on building for next year, because next year they're going to have the potential to be a damn good team. Whereas this year, I mean, they're not going to the playoffs unless they completely win out, and that's going to be difficult.
Well, their defense is all that, and it's not about winning and losing in Big Sky football per se at this level.
No.
It's about the development of young athletes watching. There's going to be, I predict, at least 4 players off this team will play in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone Williams is playing in the NFL, I'm here to tell you. Most likely, so will Winston Reed. Possibly Maxwell Anderson.
Definitely Abraham Williams.
Abraham Williams is playing in the NFL, I'm here to tell you. I guarantee you. And so, but they got this Thompson on defensive tackle, who's a beast. Wilson's a beast. Matt Herron's a beast. Those three all got a potential chance. And the DBs on this team are loaded. They got a bunch of young DBs. You know, we were just talking to BJ's mom. You know, that kid's good. You know, he's been coming in and playing.
BJ Carey, he's awesome.
Yeah. And so Rock, they got a bunch of young, but they got a bunch of good starters. And, of course, we're talking now about Everett. You know, he broke his hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really thought he was going to be the guy. And Oki's got the hurt arm too, but they're fine on defense. This team's excellent on defense. It's offense. And it's stunk. Well, come on. They lose their 3 back. But I talked to Major Givens. He said he's going to be back playing next week. Now, I don't know, but he was in pads this week. So, and he's good. He's a Rashid Shaheed type. But I want to talk a little bit about, people don't know how KWCR and 88.1 and Weber State Radio stuck in everybody's back. They stabbed us in the back. Now, let's talk about this. There's the signal right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they sold the signal off when I was in the bone marrow transplant dying of cancer in 2011. They would have never got away with it. They sold it for $75,000 or $100,000, and the attorney got $75,000. Why? So
corruption. You know how to say that?
Yeah. So you started doing KWCR when this thing was a powerhouse, 88.1 the beat. Now, I go back to Damian Lillard. He could have signed anything he wanted from me. I could get him to sign anything he wanted. I have his tickets from his first games. I had him sign my 88.1 beat that I did when we were still 88.1 the beat was his last year before they tore the signal out and I got cancer. And so You started doing this in 1977, right?
No, it was like 83,
83.
1983, 84, and I started.
Now, I was involved with these guys in 1977. You know, as a young student, probably.
Well,
You know,
that's when
blah,
I
blah.
started getting involved with the basketball team. Was 1977.
Yeah.
But
I got involved with.
KWCR was 1983.
Well, I was involved with them in 1976.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when we were in the Brownie Center, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, as it evolved all through the 70s and the 80s, it was a powerhouse. You know, 88.1 was a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was alternative, cutting-edge investigative journalism, blah, 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 blah. They have always wanted to get rid of us. So up into the 80s, you ran the show. You guys ran the show. You were the sports director, whatever. It fell apart in the 90s.
Yep.
I was a pretty famous student professor at the #1 school of business in the country then, and they were trying to develop a television station. So they'd always come to me, hey, Blanch, we need somebody to do the games. And the football team was corrupt. It was a mess here. The whole football was bleeding money, and I worked for Bruce Handley, and he wanted to kill this program. They were bleeding $25 million a year. Money missing everywhere. It was disgraceful. And by the way, Bruce Handley was probably right. He was an All-American football player here.
Yep.
All-American. He was the dean at the #1 school of business in the country. By the way, when he died, he donated his brain. So they would come to me. Blanch, come save us. Fuck, I'm a Wall Street guy. I got my plaster. I'm too busy. Okay, so I would do the football games. I would do the basketball games all through the later 90s. You know, we had the great team of Bakeland. By the way, we just talked to Dutch Belknap. We were just at practice and the scrimmage. But then through the 2000s, it just fell apart. And it was a godforsaken mess you ever see. And then Manny Gonzalez came in. That dude revived it.
Mm-hmm.
He saved it. He says, okay, they want to pull the plug, we'll go digital. And so I did the play-by-play. I did the play-by-play for football. They put me in the main game with Rashid when they were the big favorite right here in the end zone in the winter, and they knew I had cancer.
Yeah, right in front of the shot clock, I believe.
It was ridiculous. And then I did the play-by-play for basketball all through the Lillard years, but I got cancer again in 2011. So this went on with me and Manny, revived it, and we were kicking ass. They said, want to pull the plug? We're going digital. And we did. We had a giant following. You know, I had 3 radio stations.
Well, back in the days when I was there, started in 1983, we were a 100-watt station, and if it snowed, they had to turn it down because, you know, the booster would go up too much and it'd start bleeding into the other stations, and so it would have to shut down when it snowed. Now, I was sports director. You know, I just started, and then I eventually became sports director because the 2 guys that were going to be it, both one of them went to BYU and the other one took a commercial job at a commercial radio station. And we turned this thing around. I mean, we brought it so that my second year as sports director on the station management team, John Copeland's wife came in. John Copeland was the station manager, student station manager. It was still run completely 100% by the students at that time.
That's college radio.
That's the way it should be. And Brian Hill was the program director and a good one. John Copeland was the manager and a good one. And his wife was the sales director. Well, we had a budget of $10,000 a year, which we got from the student activities, association. And John's wife came in and sold underwriting. Now, we couldn't sell advertising, but we could sell underwriting. She sold $12,000 worth of underwriting the next year, which basically more than doubled the budget. $10,000 of that was for sports, and that saved the station. And then that kind of sent it, because the administration, when I got there, they were wanting to sell the signal at that time.
Oh, they've been trying to get rid of it from there. Now, what year did this station start?
I believe it was 1966.
And what was the strength of the signal?
10 watts.
10 watts.
It was 10 watts.
Now, tell the story about how we got to the big watt station.
Well, like I say, we sold all that underwriting, and so that gave people confidence. And so our station management team, we decided that, and we did it. The student management team did it. We did it.
Late 80s, right?
This was the mid-80s. Mid-80s. So it took us 2 years to do it, but we made the application with the FCC to approve us to jump from 100 watts to 3,000 watts. And we succeeded. The FCC gave us approval. And that's what paved the way for about 4 or 5 years later when the station went from 100 watts to 1,000 watts.
When it was 1,000 watts, I want people to know this. It wasn't just student radio then. It became community radio.
Mm-hmm.
So there was community, and we were famous for our radio station. We had a legendary record collection. When I was in the 70s, I had a night radio show there. We had our frat house, which wasn't even really a house. It was our house that we had everybody going to college. By the way, I'm the only one that graduated. It was a keg party there 24/7, 7 days a week. So was there in the radio station. It was in the Brownie band, and we never turned down a request. We had the biggest record vinyl collection you ever saw, and we were a powerhouse, and it got even stronger and stronger. So there were some guys from down in Ogden, the famous rap DJs that came in, had a show. We had indigenous voices from the Navajo Nation. You had me as the Post-Ignorance Project doing all my anti-nuclear stuff, my environmental stuff. We started to become this powerhouse investigative journal, and we worked with the Signpost. And I was a student professor here then, and I would always help out any way I could because I moved on, my class in Wall Street. But we always went, people forget what a powerhouse investigative journalism station KWCR was. 88.1 The Beat. We had a giant following, not just here in Ogden, all over, because the signal was so strong.
Yeah.
I know people in California that listen to us, in San Francisco that listen to us.
Well, when we were 1,000 watts, by the time 1,000 watts, see, when 100 watts, you could get us through basically Weber County, west of the Wasatch Front.
Right.
That's basically, that was the extent of it. But when they went to 1,000 watts, you were able to get us all up into Brigham City, up into northern Box Elder County, all the way down into Salt Lake County.
Oh, shit. At nighttime, I used to pick you guys up out in the desert in Nevada.
Yep.
And then it got even stronger. And so we became this famous investigator, and this was a famous school.
Uh-huh.
Just remember this, Kev. I don't think people remember this. This was a public university, not a private. I was a student professor at the school of business. We were the #1 school of business in the United States via the testing.
When I graduated in economics, we were like number 4 or 5 in the country in economics.
We were the #1 undergraduate finance program in the country 9 consecutive years when I was a student teacher. And we were beating Wharton. We were beating Harvard. When Elon Musk was going to Wharton, we were the sister school. We were beating them every year. And we were the #1 school of nursing via the testing in the country. We were the #1 engineering in the country. And we were public. And we had the public. We were a boutique university, and we took on anybody. We took on corrupt politicians. We took on corrupt professors. We took on corruption of any kind. We weren't afraid. This radio station was fearless, and they hated us. The Board of Regents in the state that runs this, the Utah State legislative process runs this, they always hated us. Mm-hmm. But we had cutting edge, we had some cutting edge hip hop freaking DJs here were some of the cutting edge in the country. We had DJs from hell. We had records. We never turned down a request. People call in, wanted us to investigate it. Everybody did it. And, I stayed involved, but there was a bunch of people from Ogden who didn't even go to school. We would say it was community radio, stayed involved. We were the voice of Weber County. We were the voice of Ogden. We were the voice of Utah. We took them on. And we were the #2 FM station in this state. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, our music, we kicked ass. We tore it up. So all through the 80s and 90s, they'd run to me and whatever. They wanted to kill it. And so they did kill it. And then Manny, we love Manny. The last game that I did before Manny bolted was Rashid Shaheed in San Diego. Uh-huh. And everybody says they're looking for the video on that. I did the call on that when he would have broke it. And then we come back, and Manny's wife wanted to move to Arizona. And I'm like, you can't do it. Well, you can do it, Blanch. I'm full of cancer. I've got heart issues. I had a heart attack. But, I'm doing my thing here at the hospital.
It's too bad I didn't come back from China a couple of years earlier.
Well, that's how I met you. I was doing the games at Weber State.
You were doing the games down there, and that's where we met.
And so I'm like, we got together, and then these guys just pulled the plug on the whole thing. Says, oh, okay, Blanch, fuck you. You're gone, blah, blah, blah. We're going to bring, and I'm like, it's supposed to be students anyway, but the students advise, do you see any of them around the last 2-3 years?
No.
It's the same old what it was. So that's their plan.
Well, Drew, when he kicked us out, says KWCR was going to do it. Well, for 3 years, do you know how many KWCR guys I've seen down there doing the games? None.
0.0. So we just did a podcast. And look, I want people to understand, too. You and I'm trapped here at Weber State because I had open heart surgery again. We just came for practice. All the players know us. We 100% are committed to supporting the student athletes. Student athletes are no fucking joke around here. It ain't like the old days. This is a hard gig for them.
It
They
is.
practice so hard. They go so long. I could give a fuck about coaches. These coaches, in my mind, are way over fucking paid.
Way
The
paid.
athletic department here, in my mind, they can kiss my ass. I really don't give a shit what they think because they make too much money. They don't do jack shit. Now, we love Klauke, but he works for KLO. You know, and I don't know what the relationship there, but don't even get me going. So we try to do as much as we can digitally. You go talk to Rashid Shaheed's agent. He'll tell you. He'll tell you straight up, fuck, Rashid made the NFL by the skin of his fucking teeth on the practice squad. And his agent will tell you, well, the only footage out there is you guys.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, without us guys, because these lazy-ass scouts don't show up shit. So we try to promote these players as much as we can and showcase talent. And we're good at spotting talent. We spotted Rashid Shaheed. We spotted Jarek Harding their freshman first games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I spotted Abraham Williams day one.
Yep.
You know, all these players. So we're in support of the student athlete. We want them to succeed. And win or losses is one thing. I like them to win, but we like to see coaches that care. But we like to see the student athlete excel and become a confident person in society and be happy.
That's what
and
it's
be
about.
successful.
That's what it's about.
That's what we do. Fuck the NCAA. So, you know,
National Collegiate Association. I better not say it.
assholes.
Assholes. Yep.
So anyway, what's your prediction on the game, Kev? Now we got that out of the way.
I think the game will be tight.
You do?
Well, I'm hoping. No, I think the defense is good enough that they can keep it tight. But I'll be honest, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for us to win because our offense is so bad.
Well, here's what I think. I think, okay, they bring Munoz in, it's going to be baptism by fire.
Oh, yeah.
And they think that's going to save stuff here.
It
No,
won't.
it ain't. And so I think this could
It'll
get...
appease the fans, but that's
I don't
about
think,
it.
maybe for about 2 sets of downs, maybe. He's going to be in a tough situation.
He is.
I think they're going to play Cooper also.
Yeah.
I think they're going to play Tiger. I think they'll
I
play
agree.
all three of
I
them.
think they're going to play all three.
And I think it's going to be a tough situation for all three of them.
Oh, yeah.
Now, hopefully somebody can make some plays and they can bust out. Where'd I put my bag? Oh, it's right there. So
And one nice thing with that, though, is that with going with all three of them,
we better get out of here
It's
before they
going-
clock us in.
it's going to be the fact that they're at least going to be trying some different things.
They need to.
They need to.
So the defense is all that, but this offense, without Bankston, as I said, first day.
As Bankston goes, so goes the Weber State's football
and
team.
Bankston's out. So I think they're going to struggle to score points, and
Yep.
I think UC Davis is better than you think. So now I want Weber to win, but
So do I, but I'll be honest, I don't think that we will.
me neither. But they might surprise me, and this defense is all that. We're going to see Abraham Williams do his thing, and Winston Reed, and Maxwell Anderson,
Yep.
and Jack Kelly, and, some of these young freshmen.
Well, one of the things we can say right
How
now,
about Thompson?
it might piss Mickey off a little bit, but I think he should try Abraham Williams at running back.
Oh, I've said that from day one. And so,
You have said that.
but anyway, once he gets to the combine, because he ain't a 4.5 guy, he ain't a 4.4 guy.
He's a 4-3 guy.
Yeah, and he's a beast. So, all right. See you tomorrow. Stay tuned.